We're here, everybody, for the June meeting, DLA Commission. Let's start. I'm going to share the screen with you guys, and we'll get the flag going, and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
To
to
the
the flag
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Two.
The notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act for this meeting have been met by transmitting the notice of the regular meeting to the Commissioner's official newspaper on February 6, 2025, posting the notice where required, and filing a copy of the notice with the Commission Clerk. The Daylight Commission meeting will be audio and videotaped and will be shown on APTV, Optimum 77, and throughout most of Monmouth County on FiOS 28.
John, your screen is being shown as
Yeah, I
Zoom.
know. I'm knocking it off.
I'm going to take the roll call down.
Go ahead.
Alan Hurst,
Present.
Asbury Park,
Here,
Deal, Interlaken,
I'm here.
Lock Arbor,
Here.
Neptune, and Ocean.
Here.
You ready, John? Can we keep?
Okay.
Okay. Tonight we have a resolution to approve the minutes of the regular meeting from May 15th, 2025. Do I have someone offer?
I'll offer.
Thank you. Second?
Interlaken second.
Oh,
Thank
Carol.
you.
Carol.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Can we get the share off?
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
to go get something to.
Don,
I
can you,
thought it should be off.
It's not.
What's the share?
Hold on.
All I'm seeing is a big blank
Hold on.
Zoom screen.
Yeah, Zoom.
Hold on. Gee, Ken.
if you just shut share off, that you're
Yeah, I did. I thought. Share. It should be off.
Not.
Hmm.
I'm here. I'm here.
Hold on. Hey,
We
Kenny.
haven't gotten any further. We're
Okay.
getting ready to do the.
Oh my God, it's crazy outside.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it's like,
Reminded me I had my windows open.
oh boy, here it comes.
Oh,
done in, yeah.
I was
That's what I,
Little-
that's,
to do it for
Alright.
me.
there you go.
Am I
That's why
still
I was
sharing?
late to the
Guys,
meeting.
am I
was
still
closing my
sharing?
window.
No, Don, we can see everybody now.
Okay.
Perfect.
so tonight we have a resolution to approve the treasurer's report and pay bills. Margot, did you get the report?
Yes, that's what I was going to get my iPad for because I
Okay.
needed the larger print.
I
Would you
like
like,
your honesty.
would you like me to read it?
Yes, please.
Balance on hand previous month, $180,980.69. Total receipts, $10,563.31. So total availables, $191,544,000. Disbursements, $8,907. Total balance, $182,637.
Perfect. Someone offer to pay the bills and pass the treasurer's report?
I'll offer Asbury Park.
Thank you.
I'll
Second.
second.
Thank you. Alan Hurst,
Yes.
Asbury Park,
Yes,
Interlaken,
Yes.
Lock Arbor,
Yes.
and Ocean.
Yes.
Okay, Don, you're up. The new grant.
Okay. The our stormwater management grant for Seaview Mall has begun. We got the official sign off. I think last meeting we had that understood. Peter's team is doing the specifications for the RFP. Next meeting we're going to authorize the plans, and hopefully we'll get you some electronic information before the next meeting, so you have most you have an idea, right? We're gonna be the area around between the old Acme, which is now Monmouth County Social Services, I believe that's what they call it, and the Petco building.
PetSmart.
That area is a
PetSmart.
swale, as a stream going through. There's two locations. One, the main entrance coming in from Applebee's. There'll be on the east side. We're doing a pond or containment area, I call it. And then also on the west side, we're going to do containment area.
Did-
So,
Don, did you want Steve to explain Peter's memo a little bit more about the project?
sure, Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, I can,
Steve Souza, Steve, Dr.
Dr.
Steve, Dr. Souza.
Yep,
Is he
I'm
there?
here. I'm sorry. I just had to unmute myself. Yeah, so Peter and I, went over things this morning, and we've already alluded to the fact that, the basic concept with this project at Seaview Square is to keep it as simple as possible and use the existing stormwater collection system as much as possible. So there's not a tremendous amount of reworking of the site and tearing it up and all the costs associated with that. So the focus is to install 4 manufactured treatment devices, and that's going to be along the north side of the loop road. So as you enter from Route 66,
Technically south side, Steve.
what's that?
Technically the south side.
It
It's the north side of that area. Yeah.
yeah, it's the yeah. Well, Peter and I have been calling it the northerly side of the loop road. Okay,
Yeah,
so
Loop Road goes all here. It's not up by Costco. It's in front of
No,
in front of the
it's-
park. So it's
right, it's on the opposite side where Sears
Right.
used to be, and it's
Right.
et cetera on that side. So if you're entering from Route 66, would be that portion of the loop road that you would encounter. So in any event, we're going to be putting in 4 manufactured treatment devices. Peter's team had to go back out and do some reassessment of the site to, just bring everything up to speed. And there's 4 rain gardens that are going to be installed as well. And those would be adjacent to and between the proposed manufactured treatment device installations. Again, we're trying to keep this as simple as possible so it's effective, but it's easy to inspect and maintain. Maintenance, as you know, with these MTDs is a big deal. And we already have some cooperation from Seaview Square, so we're just going to continue to work with that cooperative thing in mind. So in any event, I'm going to be meeting with Peter sometime in the span of the next 3 weeks or so when they get some more of their details worked out. We'll start to develop. He's already got some specifications that he's developing for the manufactured treatment devices. We'll get a better sense of the size of the rain gardens that will be installed, and then we can start thinking about some low maintenance vegetation for those rain gardens. The final thing is that we're trying to modify the outfall from that entire system as it goes under Route 35. So the concept is to modify that existing culvert in some capacity so that it detains flow for a longer period of time within Seaview without it compromising any of the functionality of the existing stormwater collection system. Doing so should help decrease flood flows, and the erosiveness associated with that kind of goes down and rips up through Colonial Terrace. So those are the things that, we have underway. We do have a budget that we have to be cognizant of. Right now, we have roughly about $630,000 in the grant for installation and construction of these green infrastructure MTDs. And that includes the rain gardens and the outlet control structure. So we're trying to work all within those, whatever, confines, funding confines. And I think we're in a really good place at this point.
That was a very good explanation. Thank you, Steve. I have one question. Is there a different name for this we keep saying 319 grant, and if this one, could you tell me the exact name of this one?
Yeah, I got to go back and look at it, to be quite honest with you, Jeannie, to get the exact, but this is with the Inflation Reduction Act money. Okay?
Right.
So
We've
it's
been
not,
calling it the Stormwater Management Grant for some
yeah,
reason.
I think that's probably the best thing to call it, but it wasn't through the, 319 is money that comes through Section 319 of the Clean Water Act. this was money that was appropriated through the Biden administration as part of the, that IRA. Yeah.
Right.
This is federal grant money?
It is federal money, correct.
Got it.
Okay.
Great.
And not to be confused with the other grant application that we just submitted, which is a 319(8) grant application. And that's with Clean Ocean Action to update the existing watershed-based plan, which Deal has one of only 7 approved plans in the entire state. So we're looking to update that plan to provide greater ability to respond to E. coli contamination of the lake.
Right.
Okay, but
Yes.
getting back to this one, we've got, Peter and his guys have done a lot of work. They did have to go back out and do some additional ground truthing, but we're in a position now where, he's already started going through with getting the specs for the MTDs. And like I said, in about 3 weeks, we'll be figuring out the size and the planting plan for the rain gardens.
I'd like to make a suggestion that in the future for agendas, could we just identify these 319 grants as storm?
That's the first one is NJDEP Stormwater Management Grant for Seaview Mall on the agenda. Old business.
Right.
Under NJDEP Stormwater Management
Right.
Grant.
Okay, good. Thank
Okay.
you.
You're welcome. And Don can't get into the meeting. He was kicked out.
Okay.
That's why he was so quiet and didn't interrupt.
All right. Yeah, so then when we call the next one, the new 319 grant,
That's what I have on the agenda.
okay,
New DEP case,
but
I
we'll
have the
call
new
that,
319H grant under new business.
and we'll call that like, what?
Whatever, but this one is
Clean
been listed as Stormwater Management Grant for Seaview Mall.
Yeah, I think the easiest thing for everybody to remember is the one that we're working on right now is the Seaview Mall
Exactly.
Stormwater Project.
Exactly.
And the one in the future, if we get the money, will be an update of the plan. There's no construction associated with the new one.
Right.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Don's having trouble getting in. I guess Ken's still there, I assume. Yeah, Ken's still
Yeah,
on.
I'm still here. You must have dropped off.
Has he tried to re-enter again?
I haven't seen any.
Yeah, he said he's been trying to get back in.
Yeah, because I don't see him trying to get back in.
Maybe
I just
something hit his house.
I just
with his
texted him
car.
asking if you can get back
I was
on.
wondering how he let you talk so long, Steve.
Yeah. Oh, good.
How much on the second grant are we looking for? How much on the second grant?
Yeah, I want to, I don't have the number right at the tip of my tongue, but I want to say it's somewhere around, it's around 250,000, somewhere around there. It does involve a tremendous amount of sampling to, it builds on the work that we've been doing with Clean Ocean Action, but there is a tremendous amount of sampling that's conducted to better identify these locations around the entire watershed where we've had history of elevated E. coli and, get the additional data we need then to figure out how do we fix this? What's the cause and how to fix it? Some of it could be, as we had the last time, that was a freak, accident where we had a sewer line break. But in other situations, it could be runoff from, given areas where there's a lot of goose and pet waste. So it's just a matter of trying to figure this all out. And then once we have that information, then we'll be able to better identify what type of remedial action needs to be implemented. And that will be part of the plan. I mean, we'll just like we did with the original plan, we identified all these stormwater projects. We'll identify a whole bunch of projects then that should be implemented to decrease E. coli loading to the lake.
Steve, I
Thank you.
have a question about, I know you were saying we want to use Clean Ocean Action, but does this grant or do you intend to use the county health department?
We'll make use of any data that we have, But no, Clean Ocean Action is
I just
project
talked,
partner that will end up, conducting the sampling. So any data that we do use from the county will be existing data, historical data.
Okay.
I'll be touching on, hey, guys, I'll be touching on the county a little later in the discussion. They're out of the testing business, okay? That's the bottom line. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
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 They've been talking about the new 319H.
Yeah,
the
I
new-
figured. Sorry, I mean, my internet's down at my house. It's just, it's down.
Maybe
so I
the
have to use
storm.
Oh, without a doubt.
Oh my
Without
God,
a
it
doubt.
sounded like something really close by came by our houses, Don.
Yeah,
I can really feel it.
So we're up to shoreline protection. John.
well, let me go over that real quick, and I'll have Jeannie come in. Jeannie, myself, and Steve had a great session with the county, the state, DEP, and Tom's River, and basically it's the enforcement arm of the DEP. And I thought they actually did the reviews of any proposals that are happening on the lake. I got the opinion that the people there were not involved with that, which is a whole another discussion someday. But they were great. They're very open. They were honest. They said basically they're backlogged. All the cases that we had, they're still working them because a lot of people left. So they're back on it. That we have one person, Madison, that's working the projects along with our old friend Tammy, who came back to help them after retirement. And we gave them examples, 2 examples of problems we've seen on the lake, and in both examples they have not gone after them because they lost the photos and videos and other things. So we provided all that the next day. I think the same day I provided it to Madison. So she was very appreciative. And since then, we actually had additional cases dealing with a dock and some modifications on a property, and another issue with clearing land and possible chemical use, which turned out not to be. And those cases were immediately jumped on, especially a chemical one. And it turned out that those pesticides that were feared were not used. It was just a guy cut his knotweed down in the backyard, but still a cleared property. So they're going to be working that. But great job by Jeannie gathering up these people, and they were all on there. They're the supervisors, the workers, and we had a great hour and a half discussion. So Jeannie, you go ahead.
Okay. Let's see. Well, you've covered a lot, but it was June 5th that we met. We met with 6 people, including top officials from 2 enforcement bureaus, like Don said, 4 officials from the Bureau of Coastal and Land Use Compliance, and 2 officials from Bureau of Water Compliance Enforcement. So 2 separate bureaus. Don, Steve, and I established an objective of the meeting and sent it to them ahead of time. And I think that the objective was to get to know each other, get a better understanding of enforcement's role, and to communicate our concerns about lake shoreline damage, and outline some ways we could develop a reliable, dependable relationship that helps to support our mutual goals. So I think Steve and Don, you both would say that meeting met that objective, right?
Oh, without a doubt.
So
It was very
we
well
learned
received.
that the last time we met was 5 years ago.
Wow.
So and in that time, they did assign one person, which was something we had asked 5 years ago, if they would assess one person from the borough, and they have one person for land use and one person for water. They're separate anyway. So, but and both of those people attended the meeting. And as Don said, he expressed, concerns about 2 egregious offenders, and they assured us that, they had you've heard us come to the meetings, and we come to the meetings and say, well, I've been trying to reach them, and they keep telling me they don't have their staff together, they're short. So finally, this meeting, this was like, okay, we're all here, and we're ready to go, and we really have everybody hired and trained. and that you can expect, we will be far more responsive to your reports, to permits. They applauded us on our efforts to educate the public. They had read the pamphlet, the lakefront homeowners pamphlet, and they said the language and the information will really help in getting the information. Well, just so it won't be so hard for them, because they'll be able to say, well, this information is circulating. Madison, who's our land use enforcer, said she's not experienced confusion that we had described was going on 5 years ago. So it's really diminished. And we were glad to know that. I think there's one other thing that we talked about. They said that they are going to let us know and give us a kind of a report too as they investigate different things. So we don't have to wonder what's going on. If there's been an incident that's been reported to them and they're going along to investigate it or to remediate it in whatever way, they're going to include a way. We just have to figure out who they're going to send that to. Right. We didn't decide on that. So when I wrote back to thank them for the meeting, and I'm going to send them minutes of our meeting. But in that email, I'll also tell them, and Don, Stephen, whoever wants to be in on that, we can decide who's going to be responsible for getting the stuff from NJDEP. When it comes to compliance issues.
Well, it's probably going to be the people, whoever writes case numbers up. I do a bunch of them, but if you write a case number up, I would say you would take the baton and stay with it. So that'd be the best choice. That's not one person. I would say the person that actually knows the subject better, whatever commissioner it is. So.
All right. So that's not what we said when we talked with them, but.
Well, yeah, but we might be a focal point and funnel point, but there's definitely got to be a belly button to each case. That's given. If it's in your town or my town, it would want to be one of us or Allenhurst, Interlaken, or whatever. So that's how I see it.
Well, I think what we were talking about was trying to keep something so that everybody kind of knows, so the commission is aware of what's happening when people, whether it's.
Oh, you're talking the others. That was another subject about building permits. That was something different. Yeah, I got you on that. I'm talking about the enforcement piece.
Right, that I am too. And I think that what they got out of it, what I got out of it was we were saying people submit complaints and we don't know what's going on. And you gave a couple of examples of that. So they said that they would be willing to do that, to let the commission know when there are incident reports and then what they're doing to remediate whatever they're doing so that we're up on everything. And
right.
We said we'd like to know that.
The clarification, Jeannie, the clarification on that is they can't tell us something they haven't done yet. In other words, they have to give the notice of violation, NOV. They have to issue that to the person or the company or whatever, and then they can give it to us. They can't do it beforehand because it's basically kind of a legal issue because it has to go through the legal department. So we want to get it until we might know that it's being accepted and they're looking into it, but we may not know the details until after the NOVs.
Yes, but that's what we were asking for. We want to know where are. So they said they would do that, and I think that was great because that was one of the things we expressed was that people put in incident reports, but then we never know what happens, and so the commission doesn't know. So we're going to ask them, and that's what I was saying. Well, we could talk about this at another time.
It was bottom line. It was a great meeting, and I thank you for arranging it. And I just want everybody to know that was good. So let's move on. I think I see Mr. Steve Feldman, an Allenhurst representative.
Yes.
Steve, are you there? I just want to welcome you.
Thank
to your
you.
first meeting. And
Yes.
Very good. Very good.
Can I just say one thing? Because I don't think everybody knows this. This is one thing that they did tell us.
Oh.
They said that if there are violations on properties, that people can they may not be able to sell a property if a house is in violation, and that person's trying to do something. They can get held up from there are a lot of other things, but among the other things that can happen with violations is that they can be. There can be an order that they're not allowed to sell their house. So I think that was something I didn't know.
But-
I don't know.
Almost like a lien,
Okay.
almost like
Yeah.
a lien on the property.
Right.
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 Yeah.
Can there be
Jeannie,
can there
let's
be a
get
stop
clar-
work order?
I'm sorry.
Can there be a stop work order?
I don't know how they enforce it, but
They
I
don't
mean,
move. They don't move that fast.
but
they don't
it
move that
doesn't matter. I just thought it was important that
Yeah,
people
that's
know that there are actually some pretty severe kinds of penalties that can happen, especially with repeat violators.
And Janie, let's send the notes to them, get their confirmation of what we said, and then we can pass it along to everybody once they confirm everything that's correct. Okay. So, all right, very good. Again, Mr. Feldman, welcome, and
you.
glad you could be here. Next, weed treatment. We awarded the contract on the weed treatment. No actions yet. Steve, have you heard anything from the weed guys?
There's nothing to treat as of yet. I
Right.
think some of the issue has been the turbidity has been so high. It's similar to last year that we haven't really observed any weed growth. I'm going
Right.
to take another look when I meet with Peter, but
Okay.
to date, it doesn't look like there's anything that requires their action.
Gotcha. Thanks. 2025 goose management plan. I think it worked well. I mean, I saw a couple of geese in Interlaken, babies, and a couple in Colonial Terrace. And I'll be honest with you, that's all I've seen around the immediate lake area.
Don,
there's
there's
go
a
ahead.
flock around Fireman's Pond.
Fireman's Pond. Yeah.
But I think it's past the
Yeah, it's past the treatment stage.
Yeah, there's.
But I tried to get a report or at least initial numbers for this meeting, but I didn't get a call back on that. So, but I think
That
she
might
did.
be an area. Yeah, that might be an area we want to look at next year.
Yeah, well, we got to, you know what? We could train more people to look around for the geese. That's kind of the key because that's kind of out of the zone. So we have folks that we know. We should talk to them about that. I know a few folks that we can talk to. If they see a nest, say something, right? See something, say something. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah, we have had a couple of people do that this year. We did get reports through the contact page. So, yeah.
I think we did really good. I think the numbers are going to be surprising everybody. Oil spill remediation. We had this discussion last time. I did call the LSRP. I had a nice discussion with the gentleman. I followed up with an email. And I'm sorry, they followed up with an email. And they basically said to me, well, they said they called it a bay catcher. Said the Bay Saver MTD on Memorial did a great job. It basically caught all the oil before it went in the lake. And I said, no, that's not a true statement. I said, we had a lot of oil. And oh, by the way, before the Bay Catcher were there, MTD, it was leaking in for years, maybe decades. So I'm waiting to hear back from them. But we know, Carol knows, the people that clean the lake in the Interlaken side, Asbury side, know there's a massive amount of oil in that lake on the shoreline that's stuck in the muck. So we're asking them to clean it up. So I haven't heard back. That we did correspond once and then twice, so they know what the deal is. I believe the pipe that goes from basically Gizzy Gifts, where the MTD is, right in front of Galley Pizza, comes down. That pipe still has oil residue, and during rainstorms, you can see it. I'm sure if you walked down that pipe right now, you would see oil coming out of the pipe. So they still have to do a cleaning of the pipes, or MTD, and they need to do remediation of the lake. And we're going to stay on it. Is Paul on the call?
My Paul Fernicole, no, he's in
Yeah.
Ireland. No, sorry.
Okay. Okay. So I got to talk to him about legal action because
Okay.
we don't want to do that. But the bottom line is we're gonna have to start talking to him in those terms soon.
Don, why is the DLA Commission doing that?
Why? Because it's our lake. We're overseeing the lake.
But it's also an NJDEP thing, isn't it? I mean, shouldn't they be?
Yeah, they're in the loop. They're in the loop too. They're in the email.
Oh, okay.
They're in the email. The county folks know it. they're the hazmat teams also.
Oh, okay, good.
and
I
the
guess
diving.
from what, I guess I misunderstood. I thought, you know.
Yes. Yeah, we got some
trying to handle it.
yes. Key people are on there, and we've gotten. It was a nice email back from her, but she was under misconception that the oil was caught, and
Yep.
the MTD caught a lot of the oil, without a doubt. It saved the lake from a lot of damage, but we know Carol knows because Carol's got her hands dirty, literally. Is that correct, Carol?
Yes, and I have a lot of photos that I sent to you, Don,
Lot
over
of
the
photos.
years.
We
Yes.
have lots of photos. So we've been sending pieces of the photos. We haven't sent them all the photos, but we have a lot of photos and recent photos of just rainstorms, normal rainstorms with the oil leaking out. So it's got to be from that pipe.
Well, it was that water enforcement who's in that?
Water enforcement, the same similar guys that did the sewer spill too. But it's a next. It could be a step up higher because oil contamination is a hazmat situation, which gets the state and the county involved. So it gets both groups involved. So anyway, they're involved. Everybody's on board. They know about it. There's a cleanup, and this company's trying to build 216 apartment buildings in that site. And I'm sure they want to get it cleaned up as soon as possible so they can continue that effort. So we're going to stay on them.
People might remember years ago, like when we had those oil absorbent booms out there and we couldn't figure out where the oil was coming from.
Right.
Yeah.
2018, I think it was, right, Carol?
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a long time.
Yep. And we had about 20 different folks out there we had so many booms it almost filled up that whole area.
Yep. And then they wanted them back.
Right. And they took our boom, the boom we spent $700 for it installed. They took it and never returned it. But that's a whole nother story. Okay, so that's it for the oil spill. Any questions on that? Okay.
Who took the booms back?
The county removed all the booms. That we had a 50-foot. Was it 50-foot boom? And it went down 3 feet in the lake and stopped all the floatables.
Maybe Jeannie wasn't on the commission.
No, I've seen
You probably
it.
weren't on a commission.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that boom before.
But
yeah.
It was a yellow boom.
It was a big yellow boom. Yep.
Boom, boom.
Corner.
Okay, I didn't know who took it.
And we asked for it back multiple times, and they've been dancing around it. But anyway, it's been an interesting story. Anyway, all right, let me keep on rolling here. I asked the county, same group that took our booms, exactly the same. I asked them if they're going to retest the E. coli at the bridges like they did in 2017-18. And they finally got back to me. They were playing phone tag. We finally talked 2 days ago, and they said they no longer have that capability. So that's a sad statement, right? They lost all their testing capability, and basically it's just oversight of testing. So we can no longer use them for that.
Which department within the health department was it?
It's a hazmat team.
Hazmat.
Yep, hazmat team, Monmouth County.
I wonder if it's the same.
Dan. I forgot Dan's last name. Dan. I would have to look it up. But Dan's the main guy, or one of the key guys there that I deal with. Santana or something like that is another guy. But it's the county hazmat team. When you call when there's a hazmat spill dealing in a lake or waterway, these guys come out to inspect.
Right, but this is for bacteria like E. coli, right? So anyway, I was just thinking in the past, what Martino did was he wrote a letter and requesed that.
I hear you, Jeannie. But this was I don't know if Marty had anything to do with this. This was a shoreline state, a Monmouth County effort for the lakes along the beach to see what contaminants are going into the ocean. That's why they did it. And that's it was a great study. They did a great job, but they no longer have that capability. So I just want to say that I'm going to move on. I think that's all I have to say. There's nothing else to say on. We are going to be obviously looking at testing with Clean Ocean Action. We still have some money on the table for testing E. coli with the piping. we've been testing pipes with dry days and wet days. We'll continue that, and we can go back and do some sample testing, especially in the Asbury Park site, and we can do some other bridges in lieu of the other pieces we're doing. And we keep our fingers crossed on the grant that Steve was talking about, the new 319 grant that we teamed up with Clean Ocean Action. And the reason we teamed up with them was because the state gave us a big tip, and the tip was that you can repair the sewer lines if the sewer authorities can get loans through a loan program for the state. If it's found out the contamination or break in the sewer lines contaminated a waterway, they can forgive the loans. And I said, it's not related to 319s, and they said no, it's not. So the 319 money can be used for testing and evaluation and redoing of our stormwater management plan. And it's a two-edged sword. So we capture the data from the storm pipes all around the lake and Sunset Lake. Sunset's included in this too, which is part of the watershed. And we capture it, we know it. We if it's high, we talk to the sewer authorities, they inspect, they find a leak, and they can, if it's a major leak, they can borrow money to fix it. Now I don't know what Asbury did with the situation on the sewer pipe on Memorial, how they paid for that, but there are methods to get reimbursed by the state. So, Jeannie, you may want to mention that to them. That'd be kind of key if you got time on that. I can go over that offline with you, Jeannie.
Okay, yeah, do that, would you? I would appreciate that.
Okay. But it could be big money. It could be. I'm sure that was hundreds of thousands of dollars what Asbury did to fix that sewer break.
Yeah.
And for some people that don't know that, we had a break in the line during the day of the cleanup with a sewer line break on Asbury by the high school. And Asbury stopped in about 2 hours, but we had sewer water in the lake, and it took a lot of effort, 2 weeks of effort for them to
2 weeks.
fix it. Yeah, to fix it. And they fixed one sewer pipe and 2 stormwater pipes. So they eliminated 2 problems. They had stormwater being poured into the sewer line, and every time it rained. And then they also, when it backed up, the sewer backed up and went into the stormwater into the lake. So pretty wild. But that was a big fix. So thanks to Asbury. Okay. Any other old business, by the way? No? Okay. Let's go to new business. The Deal Lake matter that I talked about a little bit was the 2 cases. We got the one with the vegetation that somebody thought that chemicals were being spilled on because the lily pads were disintegrating. But the state went the next day, knocked on the door of the homeowner and investigated, found there was no chemicals placed. And the guy just cut the knotweed and left it to die. And it really looked like chemicals were used. But the state determined there was no chemicals used. So that was a quick response. Within a day, they were there. So I was very impressed. Okay. Jesse, we have a resolution.
A resolution recognizing July 2025 as Lake Appreciation Month. We usually do this every year.
Yep.
I'll draw up the resolution and we'll send it over to Nan. That's where I usually send it, right, Steve?
I'll offer that, Jeannie or Jesse.
Okay. Second,
Yes, Asbury.
Allenhurst,
Yes.
Yes.
Asbury
Yes.
Park,
Yes,
Interlaken. Is Carol there?
Carol? Uh-oh. She might be hit by a lightning storm.
Hmm?
oh, we could see her screen.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up?
I think she's there.
I can't see her.
Maybe it's muted.
I'm sorry.
Oh, there you
I'm
are.
sorry.
There she is.
I had to
Ah.
step away for 1 second. I'm back.
We're recognizing July 2025
Oh.
as Lake Appreciation Month. Yes.
Bye.
Okay. Lock Harbor
Yes.
and Ocean. Wherever do we lose him?
Not again.
He froze. He's frozen. Well, he'll have to come back in again, I guess. Mhm. Okay.
So
Well,
we went over a little bit of the new 319 grant. Steve, do you want to Do you have anything to add to it?
No, I think we've covered all of the basics. I mean, like I said, we don't, the new grant, it's just an application at this point. We're still waiting to hear back from DEP. It was submitted in time, but, yeah, and it's a project partner with Clean Ocean Action. And, yeah, hopefully we'll hear something positive on it within the next couple of months. DEP is typically pretty slow about announcing.
Bye. His phone overheated. Don's phone overheated.
Oh my God. Okay.
Well, now he's calling back. Yes. Do you want me to put you up to? Oh, all right. I'm putting him on speaker.
Oh, boy.
Can you hear? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Here's Don.
My phone overheated. I got a big thermometer on my phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
My hot hands, I guess. I don't know. Holy mackerel. Anyway, I just put it in the freezer. Maybe I'll get it by the end of the year.
Don,
All right, go ahead.
we're up to insurance.
Carol, can you keep rolling? I'll talk. Just keep rolling. I don't have the.
Don, I don't know anything about a lot of the stuff that you know
I
about.
got the subject.
We're up to the insurance.
Oh, okay. Insurance. All right.
Steve, you were done, right? Steve? Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Insurance. We have two insurance policies. One being looked at is for the director's insurance. And I gave that to Ricky to work on. Jesse, did you see that?
Yes.
Okay. And then the other piece is the payment for our overall coverage, or the umbrella, basically the umbrella policy, right? The general liability. I don't know. We never got a bill, so I'm scratching my head on that one.
Oh, from
We have the
Ocean?
insurance. We're covered, but we never got a bill.
Do you want me to check on that?
Yeah,
Okay.
check that with the Ocean Town. We got to pay somewhere down the road.
Yeah. Okay.
Jeannie, you have the wildflower area. They're still cutting it. I looked. They cut it today.
Okay, well, I talked to APTPW, the head of it. He said he doesn't know why they did that, because everybody knows they're not supposed to. But what he did was he sent a guy over to stake it out, so to indicate that don't cut here, and so it shouldn't happen anymore. But hopefully they'll go back.
I was there about 4:00. They cut the stakes too. They weren't there. There was no stakes stuck in the ground. Zero.
They cut the stake. They mowed the stakes.
I don't know. There was no stakes there. I don't think.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe they didn't do it yet, but he said he was sending someone over to do that, to stake it out so that they know where the flower.
There's probably 30 geese down there hanging out, and they're walking right in front of the flume.
And maybe they'll mow over the geese while they're mowing the flowers. I didn't say that.
It wouldn't be a great loss in my eyes.
No, they're protected species. Okay.
Okay. And we talked about the due DEP case. We talked about already.
What about
Coastal Lake Summit on the 26th. I'm going to be there. Jeannie, are you going to be there, Jeannie, or not?
Yeah. I go to everyone.
Okay.
Are you going, Steve?
Yeah, I'm giving a presentation. And if Jeannie, if there's anything that you need to say on the testing, I don't know. I think they do the piece of the testing. So I'm just going to update them on Deal Lake.
Yeah, that's right. They do a presentation on all the lakes, the testing, and go through the newest information.
Okay. So I'll give a couple slides on that and get them up to speed on what we're doing. And that's that. Any other ideas? Anybody want me to include anything on that?
Well, we just, last year, Steve and I gave a presentation to everybody. I mean, I don't know if you, I don't know.
Can you send me a copy? I don't want to repeat, just shoot me that, you don't mind. So,
We can send that to you.
I'll try to go above and beyond that in terms of.
The meeting is Monday, June 23rd, not the 26th.
What's that? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, typo.
23rd.
It's Monday, right?
Yes, it's Monday, June 23rd.
Okay.
It's Monday.
Okay. The county has requested us. I got a call from Sean Golden, and they were discussing a system, an alert system that they are using around the Bay Shore. And I think they have it in Shark River. They might have it in Massaquoi. But it's a system. It's basically a weather station. And they bolted to one of the bridges, probably the Main Street Bridge in Asbury. And I was listening intently, and then they dropped it. They said, well, it's going to be around $12,000. And I said, what? So I'm going to have Josh and my son talk to them. They're pretty knowledgeable on the technology stuff, and see what it's all about. I got some basic information, but it's cool. I kind of would love to help them, and it could help us too. And it actually has a laser system that measures the water height, and there's excessive amount of water coming in. It can alert us at a certain time, or at least the OEM people, and they can alert us. I think we can be tied into it too. We have a pretty good grasp on that already, but it can't hurt having additional eyes on
Backup.
it. So,
Agreed.
did you look at that yet? I'm sorry. Did you? I don't know if you got a copy of that. Did I send it to you yet?
Who?
Steve,
Doctor?
Steve?
Doctor?
is he frozen? Yeah.
No, he's not. Are you speaking to Steve?
Who's it?
Yeah, Doctor.
Which Steve?
There's like 5 Steves.
I know, right?
There's a lot of Steves. Anyway, I'll get a copy to him, but and I'll get a copy of everybody. But it's interesting. But it is $12,000. So I haven't talked about maybe getting split the bill or whatever. But conceptually, we can maybe do it. I think in the August meeting we could discuss more right before the hurricane season, and maybe we get one installed.
Where do we have the
But
money?
it would cost money.
Right.
I don't know where the money would come from. Probably from Lake
We don't have the
Management
money
Board.
we have a grant. We have grants now.
I know. We got to be careful. So if we can do some kind of lower cost option, that'd be great if we can do that. So we'll talk more about it with them. But it's going to be tied into the overall network of the county. I thought that was a pretty cool idea. So, and they've been very gracious with us with boat patrols and things like that on the lake. So okay, let's keep on going.
Don, I wanted to say something.
I'll revisit that
Wait,
next week.
Jeannie wants to say something.
Just you had jumped from the coastal, from CLONET to the storm alert system. So there's something I did want to say regarding CLONET,
Sure.
and this is for everybody and the public too, is that I sent out something for our newsletters. I think everybody knows, or if you don't, Monmouth University trains people to do water sampling of Deal Lake. And periodically we send out requests when we need people. I think there are 7 water testers on the lake at any given time. But right now we do need 3 new people who are interested in being trained. They provide everything that you need to do the training. And Carol and I have both gone to those sessions, and it's great. I mean, really interesting. And they give you everything you need, and then you just test the water. The commitment is twice a month during the warmer weather, and once a month during the winter. And you can be anywhere on the lake that is, usually somewhere they need someone, but usually also you can pick a place you'd prefer to be to test the water. And then all that data gets uploaded. And the CLONET meeting that Don's talking about on Monday is where all the people that have been testing the coastal lakes come together, and they tell us about the results of all this testing, and it's pretty interesting. There's always really interesting speakers. So they invite the water samplers to come, and it's a nice time for people to meet other people from other coastal lakes and find out what's happening with the lakes.
Maybe we get the coaster, Jeannie, to do a little pitch for us to see if we can get additional testers. That wouldn't hurt.
Well, right now, I just got one reply, it goes to contact. So I sent it out through the newsletter and I've already got one person and then we just need two more people. So usually I'm going to put it on Facebook. Usually we get pretty good response. So we're really, we have a good group of community activists that really want to be involved with the lake. So so far we haven't had a problem filling those positions, but I just wanted to let everybody know that. And we could put it out there if I can write a little something for the newspaper. But
It's a good activity to do with your kids or your parents or a sibling. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
How many times a month is it?
I'm sorry?
Twice a month?
I couldn't hear
How
you.
often do you test?
Twice a month in the warmer months, and then once a month during the winter.
All right.
Okay.
And if you couldn't do it one month, nobody's, banging on your door saying, why weren't you out there? I mean, it's very,
No judging.
it's all volunteer.
I see them out there. I bump into folks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Thanks.
Okay.
Any other new business? Okay. I just thought of one for Mr. Feldman. There's a Steve. There's a effort away at the CP&L building. I know you might got an email on this. There's a group that they need to change. They need to put an osprey nest up to replace the osprey nest that will come down when the tower comes down. Were you aware of that?
I don't think he's on right now.
Oh, he's not on. Okay, I'll send him an email again. But the Allenhurst is there. It's kind of related to Allenhurst more so than anybody else. It's
Let's not discuss
they contacted me and basically sent them over to Allenhurst and gave them some hints. They wanted to put some kind of thing in the water in the lake. I said, why would you do that? I mean, you want it on the shoreline. You want a large telephone pole. And the DEP is giving them a little hard time. So they have an engineering firm they hired to actually do this pole and osprey nest. So it's pretty interesting. Spending some money on it for sure. So, okay. Commissioner's last word. Let's start with Allenhurst now. Is Steve there or
No.
Tony.
Tony? Is Tony there?
Oh,
Yes.
Tony's here.
Okay. Well, it looks like we're making progress here, and we're moving ahead, and all these new grants coming in. It's really an exciting time to be on a Deal Lake Commission.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeannie?
Well, just one thing that, from the meeting that we had with NJDEP, they told us that if someone reports a violation to the hotline, they have to investigate it, no matter what it is. So that's something I think everybody knows, the public knows, the Warn NJDEP 800 number. It's on our website. It's everywhere, but you can just go to that. And the other thing I wanted to mention that I thought was encouraging was that they did talk about something we spoke about 5 years ago, is that they are going to be developing some, helping us with some educational resources and workshops in the future.
Okay, thanks. Bobby there? Is Bobby on this call?
Oh, and we're going to meet with them. And they agreed to meet at least once.
Hey guys, I'm moving on, Jeannie.
I just wanted to say that. They're
Bobby
going
there? Is Gio there?
She's not here tonight.
Okay. Interlake, Carol?
I want to say great job to Jeannie, Don, and Steve for pulling together that meeting. I think that's a really great step forward that didn't seem like it was going to happen for a long time. And thank you for your persistence in making that happen. And I think if there's any way that we can tie that in on maybe a municipal level to give some support to the people who are actually in each municipality, and maybe tie in other organizations like Freehold Soils for sediment control. I think that's really, that's the whole package, and we need to kind of figure out how to do that. And I don't know how to do that yet, but I'm just kind of putting it out there.
I'm glad you said Freehold Soils because I've never had a good experience with Freehold Soils. Never.
So,
It's been up and down, but it's a little smoother now.
I consider them the many causes of lake problems, so they don't enforce anything. That's my problem. We have a problem in Ocean Township on the hill, and maybe that's a great thing. Maybe we should invite them in to talk.
I agree.
That's the thought. I just wrote that down. Thanks a lot. That was good. Margo?
Trying to make sure that the residents of the village of Lock Arbor realize that, their actions affect the lake and the ocean, everything that they do, and they're polluting and stuff. That's what I try to do.
Is Eric around?
No, he's not here tonight.
Okay. And my last word is, I had a really great email exchange with the mayor of Allenhurst today, back and forth. And we have a big issue over there with a new dock going in. I believe it's not necessarily a legal dock, but it shouldn't have been put in during the spawning season. That's what ticks me off the most. It's a permanent dock with pilings. And the wildest thing I saw on this whole project was I got an email from the DPW of Allenhurst from the mayor. It was forwarded to me from another person. And it was a picture of a dock floating around the lake. And it was by her house in West Allenhurst. She had a house in West Allenhurst on the point on South Edgemere. And I said, I got to check this out. So right before my scout meeting on Tuesday, I drove over down the street from my house. And sure enough, there was a dock there and 3 people carrying tools and a generator onto the dock. It was a floating dock. It looked in various shades of completion. It wasn't even completed. I don't know how they got on it, to be honest with you, but they got on it. And I said, "What are you guys doing?" He goes, "Well, we're building this dock. We're going to float it over." I said, and then he started rattling off where he was going. And I said, "Well, this is not, you're not supposed to build the dock on somebody else's shoreline. It was on Ocean Township shoreline." So they were there supposedly, I think they were there all day. I don't really know. I don't really have eyes on, but they definitely had tools there when I was there. And they were loading everything onto the dock system. And at 9:00 at night, they paddled over to Cedar Avenue, which is on the north side of the Corley's Avenue Bridge. They went under the bridge with these 2 floating structures, and they attached them to the permanent dock, which I saw on Wednesday. It was the strangest thing I ever saw. But the mayor has concerns too about that, and she doesn't want bad things to happen. We connected her with the state, the people that are looking at the problem, and they're exchanging information. The lawyers' names and engineers' names and all that involved with the project. So hopefully they can come to a resolution. When you find out information, I think the key thing from this whole thing is to find out what are the rules on docks, because it's always fuzzy to me. And maybe we get some written guidance from the state we can put on our website and modify our document so people know. I think that's a huge issue, because I don't mind docks. I like docks. I want people to use the lakes, but you don't want them to do the wrong thing. And building something in the spawning season is wrong.
Well, it's pretty clear, right? I mean, if they should be getting an evaluation from NJDEP.
Yeah. I don't know what's going to go.
Not necessarily.
They got the right contacts in Allenhurst, and the mayor's involved. And
hello, can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Hi, my name's Albert. I'm from 511 Cedar.
We're not taking that yet.
Oh, we're not taking any public questions right now.
Oh no, it's not a public question. I'm the owner of the guy with the dock.
You'll get a minute. In a couple minutes, you'll be able to talk. Give me a minute.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. Yeah, we have a public session. We're not there yet. Okay. Now we got the public session. I think mine was the last word.
Yeah.
I didn't miss anybody, did I?
No. Well, a motion to open the meeting to the public.
Wait, I think Steve was going to say something. Maybe Don couldn't tell, but Steve, what was it that you wanted to say about that issue?
Steve, can you hold off a minute? Let's open the public meeting. Let's open the public.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's open the public meeting right now, guys. Okay.
A motion to open the meeting to the public.
You're like an offer.
Second.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, go
Okay.
ahead.
Jesse, can you take the hands? I can't see anything.
There you go.
Can you take questions? Anybody from the public would like to speak? Just raise your hand. Or
I can't even.
Yeah, I like to speak.
Okay, Albert.
okay, Albert, go ahead.
My name is Albert, and I'm the gentleman that hired the dock person to put that dock in that you saw in the lake. I consulted
Okay.
NJDEP expert. He sent me a clear memorandum of understanding of what you're allowed to do as far as docks. I hired an attorney. I notified the town of Allenhurst, and I was extremely concerned with all the vegetation, and I tried to take all the proper measures in order to do so. So I felt like I was following the rules that I saw by hiring all the professionals, and they said that we were following the rules and we were within our rights. And my interest is just in having a good time with my family in the lake, and I was the one that did that, and I plan to use the dock to go fishing and do nice things, and I'm
That's
joining
good.
the community. I'm not.
The only problem was, I actually got that document in my hand. I don't know what rules. I mean, it sounds great, but I'm not the expert. The DEP is. These guys are interpreting the state rules for you, but it's not the state of New Jersey. You know what I mean? It's not the DEP. So let's see where it lands. But I think you were the one thing you're in violation of. I think is you're in the water from. I think it's 1 April or it's 1 April or 1 May to the end of June. I think it could be a different time frame, but it's definitely end of June that you can't physically build. You can put a floating dock out, but you can't put a physical dock out with pilings because you're in the water doing it. And the same restrictions I think apply to the construction, like bridges and things like that. And because that's what I'm familiar with the bridges, because they had to work around restriction time.
It was June
and there's another
30th was the
restriction
date.
for herring spawning. So it's kind of there's a lot of restrictions on the lake in terms of in the water work. So anyway, I mean, let's see what the state says. You already did it. I mean, it's done. I think you got maybe bad guidance. Maybe I don't know. We'll see what happens. Okay, but you got a beautiful location there, Albert. It's spectacular.
Thank you.
And I hope you good luck on the lake. But let's see what happens with the DEP evaluation. Okay.
Albert, did you said that you did contact the NJDEP and they gave you guidance about it, right?
So I contacted an NJDEP expert.
Let him answer, Don. I'm sorry. So go ahead. I'm sorry, Albert.
I had a person that he's an expert in the NJDEP, and he sent me a memorandum of understanding of all of the different rules of the NJDEP for non-tidal waters, which this was considered a non-tidal water, and he had bullet points, and I consulted with the attorney, and they put it together, and they told me that June 30th was not allowed to do anything post, and I said, okay, and I hired a dock guy that's supposed to be a dock professional, which I don't know, I paid him lots of money, and I told him, let's put the dock in before the summer, so that was my process. I thought I was following it.
I don't know if it's right. DEP's going to have to deal with that.
And I think it's right according to NJDEP. And
we're trying to get better guidance from the state, so maybe this will give us better guidance, Albert.
Okay. All right. Well, anyways, I'm happy to be on the lake. Thank you guys for all you do.
I had a question for you. Why did the guys go to West Allenhurst to build the floating docks? I was scratching my head on that one.
No, they told me that they built the floating dock outside. They manufactured the floating dock, and the height of the house, it's too steep for them to move it over. So I think they launched it and floated it over to the house. That's why they did it.
Yeah. But what they did it in front. They did it on my township property, and they trampled some bushes and all kinds of stuff. I don't even know what the condition is, but we sent the police over there. That was Tuesday night. Can I clarify that? I had 10 minutes, 5 minutes to look at it, and take some pictures. But
can I clarify that?
It blew my mind that they did it there, and they probably could have done it somewhere else. Maybe even Allenhurst, where Allenhurst has their entrance right there. I mean, that's why I was scratching my head on it. basically
Somebody
a
wants,
property
somebody wants to speak to that.
Yeah,
along South
somebody,
Edgewood.
somebody else
Yeah.
wants to speak to it, Jeannie?
Yeah.
Okay, so Don, someone else wants to
May
speak.
I
Sure,
speak?
go ahead.
I'm Jeffrey Donner. I'm an attorney. I represent Mr. Palachi, who was just speaking. I'm familiar
Oh,
with the
Albert,
property at 511 Cedar Avenue. I've been in contact with Madison and Tammy. I've given them the memorandum from our environmental expert, which demonstrates that we have what is called a rule permit because the NJDEP, this is a temporary dock, and the NJDEP does not directly regulate that. I've given that memo to Madison and Tammy. I've given that memo to Matt Mariano, who's the zoning officer at Allenhurst. He has direct jurisdiction, but he's a conduit for information for the borough of Allenhurst. So I've worked with him very closely. And the place where the frame was put together, in my understanding, was on a barge that hadn't been put into the water yet, but from the public launching site in Asbury Park, right next to the 7-Eleven. So they built the frame on the barge, then they moved the barge into the water from the public launching site, and then ferried it over with a mechanized craft that can hold it with the slats that go to be nailed down over the frame, and brought it to the spot by the water that was to be installed. I think it's just about done. I think the only thing that we may have run slightly afoul of is the fact that we weren't aware of any prohibition about doing this work in Deal Lake during this period of the year.
Yeah.
We make that mistake again. But the
Right.
problem we also have is that Albert wanted to have this for the summer, and starting June 30th, there's an overall moratorium in Allenhurst that goes through Labor Day. So based on all of these regulations, the first part we didn't know about, we would have been precluded from doing anything during this year before the summer.
So
But I know one thing, and I'll be very brief. Mr. Palachi's very enamored about the lake. He has bought this piece called 511 Cedar Avenue, which has fallen into terrible disrepair. We are under a zoning permit to take all sorts of garbage and things that have amounted over decades that are on that property. We can't even have people walk on the property much of the time because they have metal spikes that come through their shoes. So we don't want anyone to get hurt. The house is inundated by years of water penetration, and we are going to make that place into something that will be a very meaningful site in Allenhurst and on the lake. And Mr. Palachi is excited about it, and he is very enamored with doing all that he can do in terms of meeting the Deal Lake Commission's goals, the NJDEP's goals. He wants to preserve that lake really as much as the commission does. So we're here in good faith, and that's why I'm here tonight, to understand about the
Thanks for the
commission and
clarification.
to at least introduce myself.
I didn't see, I didn't see everything that they were doing on the floating dock, but it ended up by the mayor's house in West Allenhurst. And she sent me the picture, and we're all scratching our heads. We were ready to rip it out and get rid of it. That was the plan of someone.
I think our guy was asked questions of, what are you doing? You're dumping wood into the lake or something like that. It was all done very carefully, and it might have been confusing.
They must not have been able to make it all the way over at the time they put it in, because it was sitting in West Allenhurst. They must have put it past Barco, went under the railroad tracks. Because my vision was they launched it from there, from that site. I guess I'm wrong on that, right?
I spoke to the installer, and he said he launched it from the public launching site at Asbury Park next to the 7-Eleven.
Okay. Mystery solved.
Just to
let Steve talk.
Wait. So, Mr. Donner, just a point of clarification.
Yes.
It's a temporary dock. Is it on pilings, or is it just a floating dock?
No, there are pilings there.
Okay, so I think the only point of contention is sediment disturbance in Deal Lake, because it's an anadromous fishery, because it's blueback herring and shad that come into the lake, and also it's stocked with game fish. There is a restriction in the disturbance of the lake bottom, which would occur with the pile driving between April 1st and June 30th. And I think, beyond that, there's a lot of latitude, as you're saying, with the installation of docks and piers in lakes. And so DEP does have a lot of they're under both the Freshwater Wetland Act and under the Flood Hazard Acts, there is a lot of latitude there. I think the only thing that you need to be aware of in the future is the disturbance of the lake bottom. If it was just a floating dock, then there would be no issue. But with the disturbance of the lake bottom, and I can send you the citation if you'd like, but it's clear that DEP said no disturbance of the bottom because of sediment, the resuspension of sediment into the water during that spawning period from April 1st through June 30th. But
is there any consideration of how close the pilings are to one another? Because I know in that memo that I've given to Madison and Tammy,
Yeah.
the reasons the dock is not regulated is because the pilings are far enough away to avoid sedimentation. It's right in that memo.
That is part of the latitude that DEP provides. So, and that's also for flood hazard. So material won't accumulate under the dock during a flood.
Right.
So, if the pilings, I forget now what the exact distance is, but yes, they provide latitude on that in terms of having enough space under the dock for debris to flow under it in case of a flood or to flow over it.
Yeah, we meet all those requirements.
Okay, yeah.
And by the way, just to let everybody know, Albert had an issue because he just when did you close on the house, Albert?
Recently, and then I just got the
March
permits
13th.
to clean it up.
Yeah, but you just bought it. So the problem is, he's got, he probably didn't know about the water restriction.
Yeah.
But he also has a hard restriction with the Allenhurst. They stopped construction on the 30th of June. Now, my question to Allenhurst is, if it's in the lake, does that apply to construction on the lake since it's not part of the town? I don't know. I mean, that's another question. If you could get a waiver from that, if you could have. I mean, that'd be a question for future reference for other people on the lake, right? In Allenhurst, at least.
I think they're worried about noise and that kind of disruption with tools and all.
Yeah.
So I think Matt Mariano would interpret it that we would be afoul of their moratorium.
Yeah.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Well, this is interesting. Thanks, guys, for coming on.
Yeah.
It's our pleasure, and I'm
We
glad,
care.
really
We
happy
care.
you gave us an opportunity to explain a few things.
No,
But
thank
our
you.
hearts are in the right
I
place.
saw one of your workers fishing on it. He didn't catch anything. Did he catch something?
I think they might have been the workers. They should have been working, not fishing.
He was testing his rod out.
I hope I'm not paying
I
them
think
for
we're
those
just about
hours.
done.
Okay.
But we'll let the state deal with it. Did they tell you any time frame? They thanked you for the document, and they didn't give you any time frame.
They had not given me any time frame, but I've made it plain that I'm available at their convenience to speak to them, do anything. I'm very easy to get in contact with, and I'm very responsive.
That's awesome. Thank you. Anybody else out there, guys, to talk? Anybody from the public?
A motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close.
Second?
Asbury Park, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? A motion to close the meeting? To adjourn the meeting?
Do we have a same date, right? Our meeting date for next month?
July 17th, is it?
No, it's not. It is not July. It's July 24th, guys.
Oh, that's right. We changed the.
Yep.
July, what?
Let me look at my schedule. July 24th, you're correct.
Yep.
Okay.
We'll see everybody on the 24th. Maybe I'll see you on the lake. So.
No, I have July 30. What about July 31st? Or am I looking at this?
I got the 21st, 24th. I'm saying, what's the calendar? It's the next week.
I have a note that you changed.
July 31st.
I got the 24th. It's on the calendar. It's on our deal Lake. Well, I can't see the deal.
Because I'm looking at my meeting dates that I put in the paper.
Does anybody have the Deal Lake Commission meeting?
I'm looking at the meeting, the thing that I sent out. I see July 31st.
99% sure it's the 24th, but
We have July 24th. Don, I'm looking at the DLC meeting dates on our website.
I have to re-advertise then because I have it as July 31st. I don't know why.
let me look at my calendar. Maybe hold on. Let me just check.
Well, that's what we have on our website, and I think
But I just want to look and make sure, because that's the that's the fourth Thursday.
Fourth, third. Yeah, we changed that third
Right.
originally
I
to
must have
July
written down the wrong date then. Okay, I'll look at it and send out. If we have to, I'll just re-advertise.
But right now we have July 24th,
Okay.
right?
Right, I'm just saying I published it as July 31st, so I might have I have to go back and look from my minutes.
Okay, so which is it? July 24th?
I'll double check, and then if it's the 24th, then I'll just re-advertise the 24th.
Okay,
Okay.
but you'll let us know, Jesse.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna look right when we're done. Oh, we lost Dawn.
All right, well, that's been up on, I know we had some reason for why we changed it, Jesse.
Right, and I remember there was something with Dawn that we changed it.
Okay, I don't know, but
I'll go back and
be
look at the
scout
minutes
camp.
and.
it was, the original date was the week before, because that
Right,
was in the
right.
3rd, and then we changed it to the 24th. I don't know
Right.
why, but we did.
Right, okay, I'll go back and it's fine.
Don, you're on again.
Oh my God.
All right, are we done? So
You're muted, Don.
let's do a motion to adjourn.
You're muted.
Motion to adjourn Asbury Park.
Thank you. Second,
I second.
Interleukin.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Perfect.
All right.